Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
Today, we have some special guests with us. We have brought our moms onto the podcast. Mom, say hi. I brought my mom, Krista.
And my mom, Claudia, which you all have heard of many times.
The non-listener.
Guilty as charged.
So we thought it would be fun since this episode is actually releasing the day after Mother's Day. And these are the women who brought reading into our lives. Our moms are a big part of why we got into reading in the first place. So they have led the way for our reading habits.
Yes, they have. But before we get into that, I think we got to talk about literary lately. Leyna, what have you done? You've finished some books. I have not. And I know we did some other fun activities. But first,
we had a big week. Like this last week. So we recorded last week on Thursday. And between Thursday and today, which is Wednesday, it feels like we've done like a million things.
We really have. So should we talk about first that we had mentioned this, that we went to Patchouli Joe's and got to moderate an author talk with Claire Sanema, who we had on episode 23. And it was so much fun, wasn't it, Leyna?
It was. And I was so nervous. And then that morning I had walked a 5K with my sister and we were on our way home and LJ texted me and said, "I'm headed your way." And I was like, oh no, because I needed to shower still. Like, I was like, oh no. My sister was like, how far away does she live? And I'm like, not 45 minutes away. So
I did not double check the time. And Leyna was like, I think you're going to be early. And then I get to her house and I'm like, look, 3 minutes early. And she was like, I think we said 10:30.
I was like, I just got out of the shower. I'm hurrying.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
I got ready in record time. I just want that noted that I did get ready.
She did. It was so crazy. And I was like, I'm never this early to anything. So we made it. But then, we went. And so Leyna was really nervous. And I actually wasn't. I think I was more nervous on the episode that we recorded with her. But she's just so personable. She's just so friendly and nice. And it was great to get to talk with her and talk with the people that came out, which all the ones that we talked to all are in some way are either writers or work in like writing. And so it was pretty cool.
It was fun. And we got to go leave bookmarks at the Plot Twist Book Bar in Denton. We left some at Patchouli Joe's. And then we also left some we left one hanging up at the recycled bookstore. And then the next day I went to Get Lit, an adult book fair, which was really fun. It was at Tupps Brewery. And I ran into an author that we had gone to Plot Twist Book Bar to go get her to sign our books, Thea Claire. And when I was there, I had given her a bookmark with our information on it. And she was like, "Oh, I actually just picked up your bookmark from Plot Twist last night." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, they left him out." So I was half expecting them to just, toss him as soon as we left. You never know what's going to happen, but
you don't.
They left him there and she had actually picked one up. So I think we're going to have Thea Claire on here now. So.
Oh, we definitely are. We already have her book.
Yes.
And it's signed. And so we just need to read it.
And then first book is on Kindle Unlimited too. The Get Lit book fair. It was really fun. They had all kinds of vendors there. And then it's at a brewery. And they had frosé, which is like frozen rosé. So that was what I got because it had been cold and rainy the last couple of days. And then Sunday it was beautiful and I had worn jeans and I was so hot. I was like, I did not prepare for this. So I had the frosé, which was kind of nice to just have that and relax and then walk around the booths. I found an Anne of Green Gables quote, which is my absolute favorite. I put it on the Instagram page and it's hers, I'm in the depths of the despair. It speaks to me.
Which did we talk about that when I don't know if we might have talked about it like off here, but for years I've had that saying like the depths of despair and I could not remember what it was from. And I use it like all the time.
I will post, it was Nerd Lady Draws. was the woman that I bought the artwork from. And so she creates all this art from quotes and imagery from books. And then she also did like bookmarks and different things like that. So I'll put her in our show notes. And then I also, of course, ran into Joey and Jenny from Neighbor Books. If you haven't heard me talk about Neighbor Books,
Never.
That is one of my favorite bookstores. And it is the book club that I cheat on LJ with
Mm-hmm.
whenever I go to
He
a
does.
different book club. And then I also saw a lady who I wish I would have bought these. I didn't, but I wish I would have. She takes old books. She said they've been well-loved books, and so she repurposes them and takes the pages out and makes flowers and mushrooms and all kinds of like little cool things. And her name was Crafted Love Stories, and so I'll put her in the show notes too because I love book gifts, all the different things. So it's like somewhere. Yeah. My mom had just given me for Mother's Day a bookmark. I don't know what I did with it, but it's somewhere. Oh, here it is. You can see that. It's got little hearts all over it.
Oh, cute.
So I'm already getting bookish Mother's Day gifts. So that's perfect.
Aww. Well, my mom gave me espresso martini mix because she knows how much I love them.
That is a good gift.
Oh, and then look what she got today.
What's that?
They're straw toppers. So they're straws you put in, and then can you see what they are? That's books. That says book club, and that's a rainbow.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Those are cute too. And
Can
then
I ask a technical question?
Yeah. Yes.
In front of your face, Larjane, says more than a book. No, I see this. Yeah, but it's only on yours that it covers your mouth. It's covering half.
That's just right now. On my screen, it's not.
And whenever it comes out and publishes, it won't even show up. That's just basically so you call us by our names, but I keep forgetting to change it from more than a book club.
That's what they tell us. We'll see.
You know, there's a book like right in front of her face.
You're talking about the logo.
Square.
The logo. She sees the logo. It's to me, it's not there.
Claudia,
it's not over any of us.
Make sure you watch this one.
And you can see what it looks
Do
like.
Do not believe anything they say. Watch it.
I know.
Well, good news for y'all. Most people listen on Apple Podcasts, so most people aren't watching it at this time.
Well, the funny thing is that we were at a basketball game. She tells me all the time, "Oh, we talk about you all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, right."
They do.
And my grandson played in a basketball game. It's the alum game at the school where his father teaches. And every year they have a game of the current players against former players, parents, alumni, I don't know. And so he used to play for the team, so they asked him if he wanted to come play, and he did. Well, we used to always talk to one of his teammates' mothers, and she was there, and she brought it up. She goes, "And so when are you going to start listening to your daughter's podcast?"
She did.
Everybody else is doing it.
Yep. Even some of my students are listening. Yeah. It's true. All the cool kids. You're right. All right. So moving on to after the adult book club. That sounds wrong. Adult book fair. The book fair for adults.
The grown-up book fair.
The grown-up book fair, whatever we want to call it. Leyna was a gracious host for book club where she got us something awesome. Do you want to tell them what you got for us to do?
It was actually kind of cheating because I didn't want to have to get a ride somewhere because I can't drive still. So LJ and Emily graciously came over to my house, but we got to do arts and crafts, which was fun. And I believe we posted this on our...
We did. I don't even have... Mine's in my car still, so I can't even
This is the vanishing half. I did just the blue... it's rhinestones. If you've ever seen like the book bedazzling, we did that basically. And I think LJ's turned out really good because she did the letters and I tried to be
Should
fancy.
I go grab it?
Run.
Okay, that's good because a cat just let himself in here. Oh, Luigi's about to join the show. Just so you know, I'll be right back.
So Claudia, do you actually read? Okay, so you're a reader.
Very eclectic reader, but yes, I read. But I also a lot of Bible study. So I don't normally, unless it's a weekend, I don't normally read during the day. But if I'm in the car, what my preference is to have the book digitally. I have eye issues, so I can't. So Bible study, I have to have all these lights on in my office and big fonts and all that. But so I like to have the digital content and the audible content. And so when I'm in my car, I can listen and then read. Do you read a lot?
Not as much as I would like to. I have a friend actually who just sent me a book of scriptures, and you're supposed to read it every night. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
Like a devotional.
a devotional. Thank you. And so I've been reading that. So
I'm reading several things, but we're about to start a study on this, John MacArthur's 12 Extraordinary Women, and it's really good. But like last week I read Great Big Beautiful Life and
I want to read that
The
one.
Midnight Feast. What was that called?
Yes,
the
that's what it was
Lucy
called.
Foley.
Yeah, I'm not a big Lucy Foley fan, but
Neither am I.
and I think I've only read the guest list in that, but I thought, well, it popped up that it had been on I think it must have been several months ago that it was on Reese's anyway. So okay, whatever. So I read those two last week, and I'm rereading a book that I read when I was working. I had started a book club in 2009 and at work, and it continued even after I retired. And when people left, we still did it for quite some time. So, and I retired in 2017. So, but we read a book that was a Pulitzer. I think it was Pulitzer. I don't think it was Nobel. I think it was Pulitzer. My Name is Red, and it's a translation, but it was really good. So I'm rereading that right now. And I'm on the wait list for what book? I can't remember now.
Not The Wedding People, because I told her that I started it and I was like, Leyna and Emily loved it. You should read it. And my mom was like, huh. And she goes on Goodreads. She's like, oh, I already read it.
that's funny because I went with a friend to Barnes and Noble the other day, and I don't read as much now. But when I was working, I traveled a lot, and so I would always read on the plane. And as I'm walking through Barnes and Noble, I was like, and I read that, and I read that, and I read that, and it's like all of the books. When you start looking at what you've done cumulatively over the year, I read a lot more than I thought.
Yeah. Well, I recently reread all the Jane Austens except Persuasion. I haven't reread that one yet.
I love
But I've
Jane
already
Austen.
read 50 books this year. I think I track on Goodreads, and that's the only reason I could tell that.
Leyna, have you caught up to that?
I have not read 50 books yet so far.
What are you at? What are you still at? 42, 43, 44?
Finished the Wedding Planner, not Wedding Planner, Wedding People.
Wedding People.
That was cute.
I've read 46.
Okay, so I think I'm still at 40 because I started The Wedding People and I plan to do some reading tonight if I don't fall asleep. I've been up for very, very many hours. But yeah, okay, so should we go back to showing our bedazzling books?
Oh yeah, let's see yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make it big.
So here is one of mine that I finished. And so you can see
Yeah.
it looks really cute. I used like all of Leyna's red. And then I started this one and I didn't finish. So I'm going to have to get my own kit so that I can finish.
So she started, for those listening, it was Jennifer Weiner, but she just did Jen.
Yeah, I did Jen. We had been doing this for like 3 hours because it does take a while. It's very therapeutic though.
It started out, it was hard to do. Like it was hard to keep track of and what we were doing. But
and I had to put on glasses because I didn't realize there was a top and a bottom. And I didn't bring that book in here, but I started with Dream Girl Drama. And there's a whole section where they're just kind of all piled up.
Because they're flat back rhinestones. And so she had them every other one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, LJ, when you put your glasses on, you look just like your mom.
Yep.
Oh, now we got to get the glasses on.
Yep.
There we go.
Do a comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Have y'all read? I've read the first two of Benjamin Stevenson's. It's everyone. The second book was Everyone on the Train is a Suspect. The first one was Everyone in My Family has
killed someone.
I like the first one much better than the second one. I caught up on. I was way behind on Jack Reacher. I think I read 5 or 6 of those in a row.
Oh, wow.
I think I've read 4 of the Jack Reacher books.
I never
maybe
even
5.
thought about.
I've read them all now.
They're good.
All that are out.
And I like watching the show of that too because
they
did a good job.
Wonderful job with that. And I thought on the Bosch, I've read all the Bosch books and Lincoln Lawyer books, and they've done excellent job on both of those too.
I didn't know Lincoln Lawyer was even a book series. I love the TV show.
Neither.
Oh, it is, yeah, because the Lincoln Lawyer and Harry Bosch are half brothers.
Oh.
They really don't point that out too much, but occasionally I know, just because I've read all the books, I know it. But occasionally there'll be a line here or a line there. They had the same dad. The Lincoln Lawyer movie with Matthew McConaughey is different. Different person plays the Lincoln Lawyer, and there's a little different in the series, but I think it's really good. I think they've done a good job.
I'm reading The Berry Pickers now, and it's one that Rebecca Wolf, when she was on our episode, she had talked about it, and it's a family of, I guess, would you call them migrant workers? They go from place to place picking different crops. And so they're Native American. They live part of the time in Canada, and then they go down to Maine to pick berries. And it starts out with the story of they're all picking berries and they all come back together as a family. And the little 4-year-old girl is gone missing. And so they call the cops, but the cops are like, well, you clearly didn't miss her too much if you didn't notice she was gone all day and didn't keep track of your kids. And this is set back in like the 60s. So it's very different, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to read. It has like a mystery that's unfolding because you're reading it from the past, but then also parts of it are from the future where I'm guessing the little girl comes back to her family. We're going to find out.
What's it called?
The Berry Pickers.
So I will tell you, on Great Big Beautiful Life, it's different than the other books of hers that I've read. It's a little bit of her, but a lot. I enjoyed it. I did.
Didn't that one have like some mystery or a thriller aspect to it?
No, it does have a plot twist at the end.
Okay.
I thought she did a better job than a lot of these authors do going back and forth in time. You were very clear as to what time period you're in. I'm not going to lie. I was not a big fan of, let's see, what was it called? God of the Woods or something? The God of the Woods. I'm normally not a big fan of, I've read several and I keep reading them. The Alice Feeney's.
That's not Alice Feeney.
I know that's not, but she does go back and forth. What's not Alice Feeney?
God of the Woods.
I know that. That's Liz Moore, but I was just saying either author, I'm not. And I wasn't because I wasn't crazy about Beautiful Ugly, and I know a lot of people just loved it. Like, didn't you?
I did. I thought it was very well done.
I can't remember what that book was about.
The God of the Woods? Or the
Beautiful Ugly.
That was one where there was a man that his wife went missing. Like he was on the phone with her when she was driving home, and she's like, there's someone laying on the ground. And then by the time he got there, she was gone. And so she's been gone a few years, and he's a writer. And so like her godmother sends him to this island to write. And she's like, you can stay in my cabin. It was like from her like husband who had died. And then like things are weird there. There's like only women, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to. Do you have? So you read it?
Weird. It was different. It was different. It was well written. I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Anyway.
So it sounds, Claudia, like you do a lot of reading.
Yes.
I do. I always have. I had an older brother who was 2 years older than me, but because of where our birthdays fell, he was 3 years ahead of me in school. And once he started reading, I thought, well, I want to start reading. You know, by the time I got back in those days, kindergarten wasn't mandatory. So I went to kindergarten, but we didn't learn to read. But I already knew how to read. By the time I got to first grade, I'd read everything we read in school through third grade. But my mom and my dad periodically, but my mother was a big, big, big reader. My older brother, big, big, big reader. My younger two siblings, not so much. But I grew up going to the library.
Yes.
Yeah, hearing my parents, like, my dad read like all the James Bond books, and they read all the Perry Mason books. And so I grew up when we'd be in the car hearing them talk about all that. So, and it was funny because I tried to interest Laura Jane in reading, and she's going, well, as soon as she got to kindergarten and she found out what reading was, then she just took off.
Yeah, it was
the only effective punishment I could have ever had on her, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it, would have been to ground her from reading.
True. She never did. And you know what? That's funny. We have a friend that shall remain nameless that moved out of state, Leyna. Do you know who I'm referring to?
I'm guessing I know
And
who it is.
and that person would ground her kid from like everything, including books. And I told her, I was like, look, I mean, I feel like if he's going to destroy them, okay, I get it. You don't want something destructive. But otherwise, like, if you can't have anything, like, at least let him have a book.
But like when Laura Jane was in elementary school, we would eat dinner and then we might watch one 30-minute show or something. And it was very common for Dean, Laura Jane, and me to be sitting in the den reading books. Do you remember that?
Kind
We
of.
would all just be sitting there reading.
Yeah, I think Leyna was talking about going to the library with her sister, and they would haul, like literally, they had to walk, and they would haul these huge stacks of books home and read them. And we were talking, I was thinking about when I started reading, and one of the things my mom did was she would drop us off at the library, and the librarian's name was Mrs. Daly, and she would take us around and help us find books. And then I would take my books and go home. And at night, when all the lights were off in my room, there was still a light coming from the other room. And so I would lay there and read until my mom caught me, and then she would come and take the books away. But I remember reading Nancy Drew, and that's the first time I read Little Women, and Emma, which is one of my favorite books of all time.
That's what we're reading this month for
Emma.
I just read it. That's what.
Yeah, I love Emma.
I read them all. At least every 5 years, I'll reread all the Jane Austen books and all the Harry Potter books.
It's just I like Emma because it's such a story of how relationships should be. Like, you should be friends and then build on that. It's just like she's caught by surprise by how she feels. And to me, that's just such a good book. And Little Women, I mean, I had 3 sisters. And so basically it was like, throwing my family into a book, and it's like, okay.
So if you pictured yourself as one of the Little Women characters,
Joe.
See, I told you, Leyna, we talked about this. Well, because we talked about it on an episode, I think.
We did.
Because we're like, yes, everyone wants to be Joe, right?
Well, my original plan was to go to college and major in mass communications. I wanted to be a writer. And so to me, there was no way that I could be anyone except Joe.
No.
And so I would say Leyna, not that there's 4 girls, but she would be Joe. Just absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't want to be Joe?
Claudia?
I know. I feel like it's written so we're supposed to want to be Joe of the 4 sisters.
Well, it's funny. I was a mean mom too, because every 3rd or 4th book, I would make her read a literary award book, like a Newbery Medal book or something like that.
Hattie Woodlawn.
Yeah.
I like Hattie Woodlawn.
It might have been good too. At the end, I said it was good, but the experience was not good.
But there were other books too. I can't think of.
Did you ever read The Borrowers?
No.
Or A Wrinkle in Time?
Okay, yeah, I did read that. But she didn't make me read that one. I read that one of my own volition.
My stepmother, after my mother passed away, my dad remarried. My stepmother was also a big reader. And for Christmas one year, she loved Madeleine L'Engle. So she gave Laura Jane a collection of 4 of those books. And Laura Jane was very close to my stepmother.
I've wearing her wedding ring to my grandfather right now. So,
yeah. Because after my mother passed away, my dad still picked up Laura Jane once a week. And and then he came over to our house once a week for dinner. And then when he started dating Jane, then she would go. And so anyway, she kept saying, "Gee, Daddy, when are you going to marry Jane?"
Yep.
No pressure.
No pressure. And so then she told me, because she's like, you kept telling him to marry me, that when she died that I would get her wedding ring for him. And so yeah, it was very sweet. And she actually gave it to me before she died because her arthritis in her hands, like she couldn't wear it anymore. And so we went to lunch and she gave it to me. That's like probably like 13 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
But see, when Laura Jane was really young too, I don't know if you've already told all these stories, but
yeah, Mom, why is it that you don't know if I've told all these stories again?
I don't know if they were important to you or not.
No, because she has not listened to the episode.
So
Okay,
have you
go
told
ahead.
them that you grew up going to the library every Saturday after ice skating?
I don't know if I've said
I
that
don't think
exact
you
thing.
have.
I don't think I have. So go ahead.
Well, so when the time she started skating was right when I was going through divorce, and she had just been diagnosed with diabetes a few months before. So a few months before she turned 6. And so we would go. And so starting then, she would go skating early on Saturday mornings, and then we would go sometimes to 2 or 3 libraries, half-price books. There was a store called Bookstop. And when Dean and I were dating, even we used to crack up because on Friday nights, if she was at her great-grandparents', we'd go to eat, and then we'd go to Bookstop because he used to be a big reader too. But anyway, she grew up going to the libraries and half-price books.
I
There's
did.
something magical about libraries. I still think that. I still go into a library, and even if I don't get a book to check out, I still want to just like walk around and
Well,
experience it.
I agree. When I was in elementary, I have such a great memories of school libraries because when I was in elementary school, you could sign up to volunteer in a library, and you got to, back in the old days, you got to do the ink pad and stamp the
Stamp the
little
books.
card. And then something else that started in 4th grade, and I couldn't wait because my brother had done it. And you would get 10 of the index cards like this, and there was a list of the types. It was a great program. At the end of the year, you got some ribbon or award or something, or certificate for doing it. But you read 10 books during the year, and you documented them. You turned these cards, there were certain things, criteria you had to put on the index card and turn it into the school librarian. And then she kept up with them for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And it was great because you had to read like couple biographies, you had to read so many of this kind of nonfiction, that kind of nonfiction, and then regular novels. And so it really gave you a good exposure to the different genres. So I remember loving to work in the library. And I even have, because I had it for something else I was doing when I was doing BSF with the kids, LJ. So when we played a Jeopardy game, I even have the little library bell. And
I got a library stamp kit for Christmas this year. I haven't used it yet. I need to.
You should have brought it out on Sunday. We could have played with it.
We could have stamped our books.
I know, that would have been so fun.
You need to like put the little holder in the front and put the card.
If you're gonna do it, you got to go all the way.
That's right. Do
Yes.
it right. I mean,
Did you read a lot growing up?
Me? Yes, all the time. I mean, it's like literally I would read till my mom came and took the book and said,
Yeah.
"You're not reading anymore tonight." And then on the weekends,
you did say that.
yeah,
How would you read with light coming in from another room? Was your door open?
the door was open, and so I would just read and probably went blind. But you know what?
That's why you have vision problems.
Yeah.
So see, I never had a bedtime growing up.
Really?
Or they
Man.
didn't either.
Well, because I've always been an early to bed person, so it really wasn't an issue.
Well, but see, my older brother and I would go to bed and read. And my mother was a big reader, so she didn't care. She felt like you're going to fall asleep reading. So, but one of the things Laura Jane did that I just loved with her kids was in their other house, the way the bedrooms were set up upstairs. The 2 kids' rooms were like kind of like an L shape. There was a little bitty wall in between and a retaining wall to keep you from falling down the stairs. And she would sit on the floor, prop her feet up on the wall, and read to both kids at the same time.
That's a good idea. My kids used to fight all the time over, he's touching me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got to look at the page longer than me.
You know, when
they
the
were
pro-
in bed, I think Kaylee probably fell asleep in about 5 minutes. And
Yeah, and
Gavin
so
was saying, read another chapter.
Yeah, Gavin did not want me to stop. But then he would go to sleep with books on CDs or on an old, like, I had an iPod Touch and it had an app that no longer works, but it had all the classic, like, kids literature. And so he would pick something to fall asleep to. And even now, sometimes he'll go on YouTube and, like, put on an audiobook or something to fall asleep.
And they were at my house almost every single weekend growing up. And so being a big reader, so I got books like, I don't know if Kaylee paid as much attention when Gavin was reading so we have all the Curious George books, and we have the Uncle Wiggily, and they would each get to pick a story out of the Uncle Wiggily book, because I remember loving those when I was growing up. What was that book that they both liked?
Brown Bear. That
Oh,
one. We
yeah.
had so many copies. Kaylee chewed one up. Then they both wanted the new one. So then we had to get another one. So they each had the stupid book.
Yeah. Leyna's
Yep.
kids were,
They were
pretty
big
good.
readers.
Yeah.
I would say until about 4th grade.
Yeah. And then, but they used to like to hear a book at night.
Yes.
And I found out that, please don't anybody ever tell Danny I said this, but if you read him a book, he's kind of a nighttime person, and he would start talking to you, and he would just tell you all these things and talk about, and so it was like,
he still does that.
but it's like, who gets to read him the book tonight? Because you're going to get to hear everything from Danny's point of view.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was. And the kids were, when they were growing up, I would read to them. And then when Kristen and Leyna got older, what were you, 12?
When y'all got married?
Yeah.
I was 10.
Yeah. So they were 10, 11 when I married Kristen's dad. And they would go to the library, and that was like not just one time and then the books were overdue forever and I owed $100 million. They would go to the library, get the books, read them, and take them back and get some more. And so they have grown up in that atmosphere and loving to read. And that's, I always said, if you can read, you can do anything.
Gavin and Kaylee didn't get, they never got allowances or anything. So I would pay them to read. And so Gavin made a lot more money than Kaylee did. You couldn't entice, and if she wanted to go buy something, then she might read something and she'd tell me, but I caught her so many times tell me she just read something that I'd already paid her to read. But I would pay them $5 for every 100 pages they read. And then as an added incentive, when I guess this was after we moved out here, I said, okay, because this is around Snowvid, I said, okay, I'll pay you $10 for 100 pages if you read 500 pages in a week. Well, during Snowvid, her son, what did he read?
He read the Divergent books.
Okay, so he made some
and he already
money.
had a little bit in the bank. So he made enough to buy a VR.
Yeah, he did. I know. And the thing is, my mom would still pay Kaylee. So be on alert, though. She has slowly been reading. She's like 100 and something pages into oh my God, Sunrise on the Reaping, which was our book club book. And so she is reading that. So when
Did you tell her to tell me?
No, not yet, but I will, because she's got she asked for $5 yesterday, and I'm like, you already spent the $100 that I gave you on the first, and she goes, no, I'm trying to save that.
Well, I gave her every time she goes somewhere. If I take her, I give her $20. Like when she went to the birthday the other night, I said, do you have money? No. Well, do you think you need money? Well, I don't know.
Like didn't want to
She
spend her
told you
100.
she was saving it?
Yes, so she asked for $5 from me just a couple of days after I gave her $100.
She needs to learn how to bend the truth.
Oh no, she knows how to bend the truth. She does. Like yeah, she does.
She needs to not say I'm saving it.
She needs to come up with a better lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, she might not have. Can you see?
Yeah, I can check her Cash App because she's under me as a kid.
I thought you could.
But I wouldn't be surprised if she has some expensive, I don't think she gets Lululemon anymore. Something like that, though, where she's going to need a couple months allowance.
Is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah. I don't know about Lululemon. What did I say today to my students? I said something. I don't even remember what it was. And the kid was like, oh, like the clothing brand. And I was like, no. They asked me and this other kid, like, in the countries that you visited, what were the favorite cities or towns? And I said, in England, I liked going to Windsor. And they were like, oh, like the clothing brand? Apparently Windsor is a shoe brand.
I had no idea. I was like, what type of clothing is it?
Right. Like I had no idea. And this kid had heard of Windsor. This is someone that's about to graduate high school. Knew of Windsor as a clothing brand, had no idea about Windsor. And I'm like, well, that's where the queen that liked to live. And they're like, well, nothing.
Why did Kaylee start reading this book?
For school.
And did she ask you what to read?
No, she asked for that specific book because her friends were reading it.
Oh, I thought she asked
Peer
for it because
pressure.
y'all were reading it.
No,
I
no.
tried to pay my kids to read, but I told them they had to read challenging books. And I think that was where I failed because they did not want to read the books that I said were challenging.
I
But
think I offered to pay them, and I wasn't that specific. I was like, read a magazine, read a flyer, read something.
It had to be a book. But Gavin always was like his mom. He always has always been reading at a higher level than his classmates. And like, I took him to some book he wanted, and I took him to Barnes and Noble. And the lady that was working in the children's section, I said, can you tell me where blah, blah, blah is? And she looked at Gavin and she goes, is this for him? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I don't think he can read it. And I said, okay, well, just show us where. She walked over there, and then she started asking him all these questions. And he was like in third grade. And she goes, oh my goodness, I have fifth graders that can't read this. And
yeah.
but he read all the Harry Potters. Did he read the Hunger Games?
Yes, he did. Yes, remember my favorite picture of him? He's reading the Hunger Games at Chili's, and the sunlight is just perfect.
And that other one, I was shocked that in elementary school they had like the Maze Runner, because they had accelerated reading, remember? And you got to go pick off a different. And I was shocked when he started. I was like, how? I mean, there's no curse words or sex in them, but it just didn't seem like it was quality content.
I think there is profanity in there.
Is there? Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
People die in that, right? Like that's pretty. It's
pretty
I know
dark.
Danny read that one, but it was one he was interested in, and at that point, I was like, just read something.
Danny
Exactly.
is 16, and I still try to keep profanity. I'm like, you can't watch that movie. And he's basically an adult.
Like just listen to him playing video games with his friends, and
Right.
that
Now, how
dream
old
will
is
come
he?
to an end.
How old is he?
He's 16. He's the same. Well, he's in the same grade as Kaylee.
Yeah, because that's how Leyna and I met. We were both room moms when they were in kindergarten.
Yeah. But I just, to me, Danny is still like
a baby.
Yeah, he's still a baby. And I still am like, I don't know if he can tell Leyna about a movie. And I'm like, I don't know if he can watch this because there's a lot of cursing. And, I guess
they're so desensitized to that.
Yep.
I remember Laura Jane's friends' parents were very, very, very strict. I didn't have to be strict because they were. And
it's true.
So they called me one day about going to some R-rated movie. What do y'all think? And I said, here's the deal. I'm fine with it. But once you say yes to one R-rated movie, then that means all R-rated movies are approved from my perspective. I'm not going to go watch a movie that I have no interest in. At this point, they're like 15 years old. I'm like, I think they're all, of course, they weren't as bad as they are today. And then I also told the girls, if I'm the transportation to the movie and you don't get in, well, I'm sorry, you're going to be sitting there and waiting until your transportation home comes back and gets you.
Yeah.
We didn't have any issues. Just the one time you tried to buy us tickets for Jerry Maguire. That's the only time, but then you just took us home.
For what? Jerry Maguire?
For Jerry Maguire.
It does have like one sex
Laura
scene
Jane,
I know.
Laura Jane was like Kaylee. She had a summer birthday, and one of her best friends, Jean, had a summer birthday. But one of her friends had been held back and was a year older than all of them. So it was just...
Yeah.
All over the place. I remember when my husband and I got married, and I went to go buy a rated R movie tickets for us to go to the movies. And I was 20, and they're like, oh, you can't buy that. And I'm like, I'm married. It's for me and my husband. They're like, oh, you have to be 21 to buy someone else's movie ticket that's for a rated R movie. And so I had to get the manager and be like, dude, I'm married.
My word.
Yeah.
Of course, now you can buy everything online. So.
Right? It's not even an issue.
Do you all read Frida McFadden?
I've read one or two of hers.
I've read several because they're on Kindle Unlimited. She has a new one out called The Tenant. And then, let me see. Do you like Ruth Ware?
Yeah.
I do not.
You don't like her or you don't know her?
I don't like her.
The Frozen
What book is that one?
Frozen River. That's the one that I just finished. My sister had told me about it, and I read it. And if you haven't, oh my gosh, it's such a good book.
You read it in like 3 days.
I did. It's a historical novel. It's based on true events. It's a murder whodunit, so you kind of have that aspect.
Did you read The Woman in Cabin 10 or The Girl in Cabin 10?
Mom, this is not a Ruth Ware book that she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
This is Ariel Lawhorn.
Yeah, but it's
a good book.
It
Oh,
is a
okay.
good book because it's talking about the justice system at the time, which is completely flawed, and women don't have a part in it. And then
Did you read Lessons in Chemistry?
no,
Mom, this is a completely different time period.
50, what time period are you talking about?
it's about 1789.
Oh, okay.
So it's historic.
Well, lessons, is it life lessons or lessons in chemistry?
in
Lessons
chemistry.
in chemistry.
It's the time period that I grew up in with how women were treated. But I'm
This is
sorry, I
older.
got confused.
Oh no,
And
that's
I'm
okay.
writing it down. What was the name of that?
Frozen River.
I bet you would like it. It's a good book.
It's a very good book.
And I'm pretty sure I told you about it last year.
And it is based on true events because the woman who it was based on her journal, diary, whatever you want to call it. So I do a lot of ancestry, genealogy.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually want to throw my time away and just go see if I can find her because she
Oh, my
was
word.
she was the great aunt of Clara Barton.
Which
So
is
Clara
just
Barton was one
cool.
of the very first biographies I read.
yeah,
I think I probably still have the book. It's about
I'm
like
pretty
this.
sure I read the same one that you had. Still
And
have it.
Gavin, too, when he was younger, he would go, what were those called? Who is, where is, what is? And
I
and he'd
Survived.
read it, but then he'd ask you all these questions. I don't know. Like, because he read one on the Great Wall of China, one on Pompeii.
Yeah, that was the I Survived. Yeah.
And I said, ask Siri. I don't know.
What did y'all do as parents before there was internet? Did you just
Yeah.
make stuff up?
no, you know what we did when if they came with a question and I didn't know the answer, it was off to the library and
Encyclopedias.
pull out the encyclopedia. And we actually owned a
We
set.
had a set of
Yeah.
encyclopedias.
And we would go and look it up and get the answer for them because there was no internet, there was no
Yeah.
Google, Siri.
I remember when I was bored, I would just go pull a letter of the alphabet from the encyclopedias
I
and
grew
just
up
read
with
it.
the, my parents had the World Book, the white World Book Encyclopedia. I didn't have one at my house, but Laura Jane wasn't very interested in that kind of information.
That's not true. I would do that at school in the library.
But if there was like 5 or 6 children in the book, then you can bet she would have read it 14 times.
Which one of
It's
you
true.
was it that read the dictionary?
Oh, I don't remember that. So
Jeremy?
that may have been Jeremy.
Yeah, but they actually pulled out the dictionary and started reading it.
So what are y'all reading now? Did you finish Frozen River?
I just finished it. I highly recommend it.
I'll look it up.
What I'm getting ready to start,
Killer story.
Killer Story.
Like we had it somewhere.
Yay!
Because I
What's
heard you
that
guys
one?
talking.
Mom, that's the one for the author that we just did her panel.
Right, and I heard you do her interview, and I really enjoyed it. And so I got the book, and I started it today. I'm very excited to read it because I like true crime and whodunits, and I mean that's right up my alley.
Is it a true crime book?
So she was
It's
a
a
true
memoir.
crime producer, like a field producer.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of talking about the different cases that she worked on.
how she got into TV and how she got into producing this kind
Oh,
of
okay.
yeah.
And then after you read it, you need to go on to IMDb and find all of the episodes she produced for 48 hours.
That's what I want to do after I finish reading.
Yeah. Because I think Leyna and I have been doing that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I've been doing that too because I'm with you. I love true crime.
I liked Cops
That's
when
right.
the first season came out. So
Bad boys, bad boys.
yeah, you gotta do
Was that
what's
true
gonna-
crime? Was that a true crime show?
That was like it showed the
my-
cops on live on location.
on patrol.
like-
Like the
Reality.
body cams and stuff.
Oh, they didn't have body.
Body cam. So this was like in the
This is old,
80s
yeah.
and 90s.
They had like a camera that was trying to run to keep up with the policeman. So,
it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
and now what's really strange is that Lena's daughter watches Rookies.
She watches
Oh,
the
the
rookie.
yeah, Kaylee likes that
she
one.
just started getting into Law and Order, which I'm like, I love.
Did she
Law
start
and
at the
Order.
beginning?
What is the Rookies?
It's about policemen.
So it is.
Piper is definitely genetically related.
Is it a current show?
It's a current show. It's Nathan Fillion, who is just amazing.
What do you watch it on?
Oh, I think it's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu because
But
Kaylee's watched all the ones out like multiple times.
It's a guy who was 40 40-ish, and he's having his second career, so he becomes a rookie police officer in LA. So that's why he's the rookie.
Okay.
And it's following the rookies, and he's just an older rookie along with these 20-year-olds. So it's a fun show.
Yeah. Like I said, it just proves that Piper is totally related to
Yours.
because
And how old is she?
She's 14.
Leyna, did she start Law and Order from the beginning, or did she start in the middle, near the
I
end?
think
What'd
she
she
started
do?
in the middle.
Okay.
Because I would have gone back to
Yeah.
maybe shown her like the very beginning, but some of those episodes like that was early 90s. Is that when it started?
Yeah.
So I think she would probably prefer more ripped from the headlines
Modern.
of today.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I
No, I
can't
just was
watch the
curious.
SVU ones. They're too graphic.
I can't watch those anymore.
Well,
After I
that's-
had kids, I stopped watching those.
that's the other thing is like I watched a show the other day and I told Leyna, I think this is the kind of show Piper would like, but I don't know if it's too violent. And so I don't know that I want to recommend it for her. And, you get into those shows and that's what they tend to be. It's
She's
more realistic now.
gone through
Mhm.
and watched all of the Scream movies now.
Oh,
And
so good.
we went and saw the Thunderbolts movie last night, which I thought was really good. But they had a preview for I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they're
the
doing
remake.
a
or new
remake of
one.
it. And I was like, Piper, you need to go watch that movie, the original. She was like,
And
I
there's
don't
a
know.
sequel. There's two.
Mhm.
Tell
Well,
them what Jeff Lewis did to you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Remember when we lived on Lovers Lane and that they were IMing you or something? I know what you did, or I saw what you did. Or
I'm sure it happened, but I do not remember that.
wow, I remember something she doesn't remember.
I know.
Did y'all? I just saw this the other day. Y'all probably saw it. It came out in 2015. Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway in The Intern.
I haven't seen
I
it.
haven't seen that.
It's a cute movie. It's good.
We just watched The Accountant last night.
That's a good movie.
That's a very
Yeah.
good movie.
I rewatched it the other day because the second one's about to come
Yep.
up or is out.
Yeah.
Is it already out? I want to see that one.
We watched the first one and I was like, even if you didn't like Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
And I don't.
and I don't either, but we watched the movie and my son was like, this is not going to be very good. And then we watched it and I think he liked it too. So
It was better than what I was expecting it to be, for sure.
yeah. Well,
Very
since we
violent.
said names of shows, the show that I was telling Leyna for Piper was called Bodies. And that is a time traveling show. So
Body.
Bodies, multiple.
I like time
Is
travel.
that current show?
Yes.
Right now?
I honestly can not tell you what I watched it on. It's like a mini series,
Oh, okay.
but be prepared. It's intense.
This is the direction our podcast usually goes in, because we start talking books and then we talk about everything. That's why we're more than a book club.
We are more than a book club.
Leyna, what are you and Laura Jane reading right now?
I'm reading The Berry Pickers, and then I'm also reading ARC. We got the Forget the Fairy Tale and Find Your Happiness. So those are the two that I'm currently reading.
What was that?
Forget the Fairy Tale and Find Your Happiness. It's about
Is
a
that a
woman's journey.
nonfiction? Is that a self-help book or?
No.
It's nonfiction. I haven't gotten into any self-helpness, but it's more about her memoir, kind of. I guess her story.
Who wrote it?
It's Deb Miller, and I think it comes out sometime later this month. So we got the advanced copies. And so it's a nice read. It's talking about she was a baby boomer, and so she's coming up in the world and graduated college. But at that time, it was more you were going to college to find a husband. So now she has found her husband, and she talks about the princess path, because you get married and then you stay home and have your babies. And she is trying to decide now, like, what happens after you get married, because every fairy tale ends and it's happily ever after. And so she's like, what comes after that?
Okay. What about you, Laura Jane?
I'm just reading. What am I reading?
Anna Karenina.
No,
Oh,
I
she
finished that a
finished.
long time ago.
A
Wow.
long time ago, meaning within the
Like
last
at
2 weeks.
Like 3 weeks.
Isn't
Anyway,
that a doorstop?
It is.
yeah, it's really thick. I am reading The Wedding People, and what is it? Is it like Forget Me Not? It's an early release of Stacey Willingham's new book. And that is all I am reading right now, I think. But I did today, so I put on Libby, like, how we do where we're like, we know books coming out, and so we'll like say notify us. So Alex Finlay, or Finley, however you say its new book came out yesterday, and my hold came through today. So I must have been one of the early people. So I got that, but I only have 2 weeks, so I gotta hurry up.
Have you read any of the Daniel Silva books? There's like 20 something in the series. The Gabrielle Alon. They're really good. I like political, spy, espionage, and that's what all those are. Mysteries, but I would recommend Pendergast series, and it's written by Lincoln and Child. They're British authors, and they've got maybe 20 books out in the series. A librarian had told me about it.
I feel like I've heard of that before.
They all are huge mystery books, but some are more psychological mysteries. It's really good. The characters in it are just that, and the Dan Silva series, the characters in them are very well developed, and you never know when, they might be in the 3rd book and then the 19th book they come back.
I would forget the characters.
Now, I know Laura Jane read The Women. Have y'all read The Women?
No. I think you would like it. It's set in a Vietnam War, and it's women coming back from the war and how they were treated and what happened during the war, and kind of.
I'll have to get that because that does.
I loved it. Because I grew up during all that. So
did I.
Have you read any of her other books? Kristen Hannah's? Oh, The Nightingale's really good.
Well, I have read that.
She wrote that.
A good one.
Yeah, I did read
and
that.
I think there's...
Actually, I read another one.
I think of what all she's written. She did the...
I know.
The Great Alone, The Four Winds, Firefly Lane.
Firefly Lane.
Yes.
That was actually a show, too.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I think you and me and Kristen passed those around.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. After she said that, I was like...
it's hard to remember the names of the books or who wrote it.
Mhm.
My memory's not the greatest, so, sometimes tend to forget.
So how has your reading changed from when you were a kid and reading by the light? How has it changed over your life to now?
Well, then I had all the time in the world to devote to reading, and I feel like I retired, but I feel like I have less time to do it. And that's really strange because where did I ever fit work in?
Yeah.
And I think the kinds of books that I read, I still have those classics that I like, but I think now I've moved on to some other books too. Like I really like history and I really like the whodunits. So maybe I've changed up the kind of reading I do.
Have you ever read any books that actually scared you or kept you up at night?
Stephen King.
Mhm.
He wrote,
Anyone in particular?
it was a short story, and it was in a collection of short stories. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was a short story, and it was about a group that got trapped out on I guess it was a bunch of planks that were nailed together, and there were alligators and something else. And I closed the book, put it down, and I have never picked it up since.
Do you read much of Stephen King?
No.
And I hate Stephen King.
Not anymore.
And I love him.
I liked him until I read that story, and I was like, I can never read anything he wrote again.
I read his more non-traditional books that are more mystery than supernatural.
I'm about to look up and find this collection of stories.
It was
It
came out like probably in the early 80s.
So The Exorcist, I was home from college, I think, and I was staying up. It's like 2:30 in the morning and at my parents' house, and I heard, it's older house, and I heard this creaking. I was like, but that book probably more than any other book.
The books that freak me out are the ones that are actually like true crime. That's the one I read, the one about the serial killer that drove across America killing people, and he would kill people at random.
Yeah, see, that stuff doesn't bother me. It's a ghost that's going to bother me.
The ghost.
Yeah.
Me too. That's me too. I cannot do the supernatural except for Stephen King for the most part. There's still stuff like the book It totally freaked me out, but I loved it nevertheless. But yeah, I can't do ghosts.
I grew up in Tennessee, and where I grew up, there's a witch there. And we would actually go out to the cemetery where the witch was supposed to be seen.
Was it the Bell Witch?
The Bell Witch.
Oh.
Yes. And
we went to her house one time.
Absolutely terrifying. And we would get out there. And I mean, once we started seeing the lights, and I'm sure there's a logical explanation, but once we started seeing the lights, I mean, we were pulling on each other to get back into the car and get away. It was so scary.
Okay, I think I found the short story. It's called The Raft. And it's in the Skeleton Crew compilation. Does
Yes.
that sound? Okay,
Yes.
cool deal. Oh
Don't
yeah,
read it.
apparently it is quite the scary story according to Reddit, which also came up. So,
Do not read it.
Okay.
I
oh,
remember
I'm so gonna go read that. I'm gonna go get it right now.
growing up and driving at night, and Mom would tell the story of the Telltale Heart.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
And
gosh.
I never knew. I thought she had created the story. And I was like, my mom is so scary.
Such a good storyteller,
I know.
obviously.
I should put it in a book and get credit for it and make money.
I mean, right?
But I remember that story. I would always be like, and what happens next?
It is a terrifying story, but
I don't know what it
girl-
says that I don't know what grade in elementary school that I had a teacher that read that to us. And then like somehow I got a copy of it from her. Like I got to keep it. And I'm like, we read that in elementary school. That's not really a good book, I think, for
I feel
elementary
like
school.
I read the completed tales of Edgar Allan Poe. I think I had that
have it.
in like 5th grade.
It's on the
Yeah.
bookshelf at my house.
And then, well, we also read The Telltale Heart. Like we had read both of them, and it's like, what was this elementary teacher? I feel like you could never get away with that nowadays, you know? Like, no, you would end up on the news.
Not in 5th grade.
Yeah. It's so crazy to think. But I also had in kindergarten, I don't know if I ever told you this, Mom. My kindergarten teacher, who I loved, had a record player, and there were 2 different things that she would play for us sometimes. One was like someone like going up to the guillotine and the drop of the guillotine. This is in kindergarten. And the other one, someone being buried alive.
What?
And
What
I
is
remember one time
In
she
kindergarten?
said like you could pretend so and so, and she said a boy's name in the class, and that kid cried.
I would too.
Yeah. But I'm like, this is in kindergarten. Like that.
I had a
I don't-
teacher in 7th grade, and he was our math teacher, algebra, Mr. Hildebrand. I remember his name. And one of the kids in the class had the hiccups. And we were on the 2nd story of the building. And in Germany, that's where we were at school, had the windows that you could pull open. And so he pulled the window open, and then he had 2 other kids pick up this boy and pretend to throw him out the window to try to scare the hiccups out of him. And I'm like,
Oh
that
my
would never
gosh.
fly now. Can you imagine?
No.
'Cause
You
they
would
like
get.
held him out the window.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, you talking about that made me think of this. Did y'all read, did you say you have read The Midnight Feast?
No.
I did.
Oh, she did.
So, and I remember do you remember the song they kept talking about, the Teddy Bear's Picnic?
Yes. I know that song.
Well, it comes up all through that book. And so I had to go out on Spotify and listen to it to remind myself.
Yep. It's a little kid song.
It's used as a spooky part of.
Well, so many little kid songs could be spooky.
Well, they're
Yeah.
based in
Yeah.
like Ring Around the Rosies about
Mhm.
the plague. You know, they all have foundations and
Did you like The Midnight Feast?
I feel like I'm trying to remember now. I feel like I liked it like 3 stars. I
Okay.
didn't feel like it was something that I loved.
Did you like the guest list?
No.
I didn't either.
And I think I read Midnight Feast hoping that it would be better than the guest list. And I was like, maybe this author isn't for me.
if you start a book and you don't like it, do you finish it or put it away?
It depends.
I'm trying
There's
to put it away.
Very few I haven't finished.
I'm trying to go through and be like, okay, you only have so many books that you can read in your life. Set it aside. Like,
Mhm.
just, you can come back to it if you want to, but there are so many good books out there.
Just recently I did that. I put one aside. I was looking for something to read, so I looked at all the good Goodreads award winners last year or whatever. What's the one? Cerulean Sea.
Oh, House on the Cerulean Sea.
Was that the first book?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought the first one was extremely well written. I thought, the second one I started, I was like, ugh, no.
And I have the second one. I've never read it because I had read one of his other books. I had actually recommended it for book club. So that's TJ Klune. No, wait.
Yeah.
Is that TJ Klune?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's TJ Klune.
And I recommended the one that was the robot Pinocchio retelling. and it was so awful that I told you guys not to read it. I was like, don't bother. It's so bad.
My sister was just asking me, she was reading a book and I said, do you like it? And she said, no. And she said, but I'm going to finish it. And I was like, life is too short to read bad books.
I
was
agree
like,
with that.
just toss it and move on to the next one.
And especially if you don't like it, you're not going to read it as fast.
No.
No, you're right. You're right.
She's been putting it down and I'll be like, how's it going? And she's like, I read 2 pages. I'm like, just get rid of it.
Some books are not for some people. Like
it's true.
I have read my share of Stephen King, and every time someone's like, this book is going to be so good, it's a great Stephen King, this is his best, and I'll try reading it. And I've been pushing through, and I decided I'm not doing that anymore.
Did you try, for Stephen King, did you read the Mr. Mercedes series?
Yes, we read it for book club.
We read the trilogy of that.
You did all 3 of them?
I read all 3 of them. I read.
And you didn't like them?
11, 22, 63, The Stand.
I read that.
The Stand.
Did you read Fairy Tale?
No, she's not reading any unless we make her read them.
But then I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, she's like, don't make it a book club book. I'm not going to read it.
Did you not like the Mr. Mercedes series?
No, she didn't like any of the books,
I didn't
Mom.
like any of them. So I remember watching the mini-series of The Stand. I think that came out whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
We watched that. And I remember thinking it was amazing. And so I thought the book was going to be amazing. But then the book had it's so long.
Yeah. And he did not land the ending. The end of that book is one of the, because he does not always land the ending. And the end of that one was one that he failed miserably. I think he failed miserably with Carrie. And then the end of the book of It, he messed up. He messed up big time, which is why when they redid the movies, he had them change how it ended so that it would be scarier, because it really wasn't scary at the end. It was scary in the middle, and then the end was kind of like, but no, he does not always land the endings.
Funny story on The Stand. I had bought it. Everybody, at that point in time I was working, that's when I was working at the subsidiary of the Bank Lord Dana. Almost everybody on my team were big readers. So they're all reading The Stand. So I got it at half-price books. And I'm thinking I have 60 pages left. The last 60 pages, it was a defective book, got reprinted, and I didn't have the end of the book. So I went to the library. I went trying to find it. In the meantime, in between the time whenever the book had been at half price books, Stephen King, there had been an anniversary, and he had republished and added 100 pages off the floor to the book. So then I had to, in order to get back where I was, because I wasn't going to miss anything, and I can tell you the original publication was so much better. And the first page in and of itself, because he changed the beginning. The mini-series is set up more like the newer published book. But in the original publication, he starts out at the gas station. But anyway, but it was so funny because I ended up having to reread the new book because I couldn't find the other one anywhere.
Yeah. It's Stephen King.
I think I'm going to reread The Shining. Not The Shining. I just reread The Shining. It. I think I'm going to reread It because it's been like 9 years since I read it.
I am going to watch The Shining because we're going to Denver and Estes Park for vacation this summer. And I plan to go to the Stanley Hotel.
That's a beautiful hotel.
But that's where The Shining was filmed. And I was like, that'll be...
The Stanley Hotel is up there. And it's got like this huge long porch, and you can just sit out there on rocking chairs and look at the mountains. And it's just amazing. And then you think about that movie and you're like...
And they do because it's supposed to be haunted. So they do a ghost tour, different things.
Yeah, there are some rooms that are supposedly haunted.
I don't know if I can get my husband to do that because he is the ultimate anti-scary movie person.
Well, you can leave him on the porch while you go up. And
so this is what's interesting. The original movie is not filmed at the hotel.
Really?
It's a different hotel. Yeah, because
Emily.
Yeah, it's not. The remake from like the 90s is apparently, but I love that because Emily told me that because they went a few years ago and she did the ghost tour, I think, with her brother. And so, and I don't like ghosts, but I would do the ghost tour. I would do that ghost tour. Like, that sounds fun. Leyna and I did the downtown McKinney one like 10 years ago or so.
I enjoyed that.
It freaked me out. I was so freaked out.
I really enjoyed it. And we tried to go do something that they had in downtown McKinney
We did,
Square.
but it wasn't
the same. It wasn't scary.
because Danny went. He was all excited about Ghost, and then there were no
It was
ghosts.
a
I
little
know
bit
ours was
disappointing.
good. The one we went to was really good.
Have you all read Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil?
I read it a few years ago, but my memory is so bad I can't even tell you what it was about.
And y'all, it reads like a mystery. It's true crime.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know.
true story. And one of the things I loved about I read it in 2 different book clubs, but one of the things I loved about I learned so much about Savannah. But when you talked about the ghost tour, that's what made me think about it, because they have a very famous ghost tour.
I have one thing to say.
What's that?
If you can read, you can do anything. So keep reading.
Keep reading.
I love that. We should make that our sign off.
Look
I
at
like
You
it.
can read, you can do anything.
So keep reading.
Keep reading.
Next week, we are going to talk about books that made us love reading, be it in our childhood, as an adult, like things that brought us back to reading. And you will see some posts on our social media where we ask for your input. And if you contribute, we will give you a shout out on this podcast on our next episode. So we really hope that you do. We had fun with this when we've done this before.
I'm excited for that episode. That's going to
I
be
am
fun.
too. And especially if you're a zennial with an X, then you know what we're talking about, the Gen X / millennial, but not the zennials with a Z, the ones with an X, because I bet we have some good books to reminisce on.
And I want to thank our moms for coming.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
So how many episodes do I have to catch up on?
This is gonna be episode 26. You just got to catch up on, I guess you said you've listened to 2, so 24 more episodes and you'll be caught up. So there
Well,
you
I don't
go.
have any Audible. I canceled my Audible membership, and I don't have anything from the library. So I guess when I'm in the car, I'll just listen to y'all on Spotify.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Full support. All right. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good weekend.
So thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.